Hello and welcome to the Travel Nurse YouTube channel. My name is Abdul. As I say, this channel is dedicated to all internationally trained nurses who want to ply their trade in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, New Zealand, and the US of A. Now I've been doing series of videos mostly concentrating on UK, but this particular video cuts across irrespective of the country that you are applying to. Today I want us to look at something very important in your application or job seeking. I've received a lot of messages and complaints from applicants of them trying several times. They're getting feedback from their potential employers, and I've realized there are few mistakes or some common mistakes that we do that do not enable us to get the response that we want as soon as possible. As some will say, they get tired with the unfortunately messages. I've done series of videos on how to make direct applications, job applications within the NHS. I want us to look at these things first. First and foremost, the most important thing in any job application is your resume or your curriculum vitae or the CV. CV is very, very important. It's a summation of everything that any employer or any employer wants. So you as a job seeker has to get a convincing CV or resume. Things that we tend to put on our CVs speaks loads about us. This serves as the first point of contact between you and your potential employer. Hence, much emphasis and much importance has to be attached to your CV or your resume. These are some of the things they consider. Nobody has the luxury of reading a 5-page or 6-page or 7-page CV of a nurse. When seeking for employment either in the UK, US, New Zealand, Ireland, make sure you don't go beyond 3 pages, at least 1 or 2. Capture your personal details at the top. Capture your career statement, meet your career statement or your summary, your work experience, either in chronological order or reverse chronological order is accepted, but usually with your current job position. One of the key things they want to look at is you telling them on your current role what you do, the type of people you attend to, the type of instruments or equipment that you use in your day-to-day activity. Then you can talk about that is your skills and expertise, your duties or your responsibilities. You can talk about your achievement as well. You can later come and talk about your educational qualifications, starting with the most recent. One of the things most employers do focus on again, secondly, is the employment gaps within your CV, within your career history. Make sure you have reasons to give on any job or employment gap on your CV, even if it is a month. You don't write as you've completed school, for instance, in 2016, and you just started work in 2018. 2 years gap is too enormous for every employer. Every employer would want you to give a tangible reason for that. So in between those periods, even if it is a voluntary work that you did, you should be able to capture it. Okay, if there is a gap of 1 or 2 months, and it happens that probably you had to move from one state or one region to another to seek for another job, you must state it. So they look for employment gaps. Very, very necessary. If it happens that you are sitting home awaiting your result or awaiting postings, you must capture that. So employment gaps are very key. When you are applying to any for job in any country, for instance, when you're applying to the UK, obviously before you put up your CV, you might have completed or passed your IELTS and CBT and must have initiated your registration with the NMC UK. As immediately you initiate or start or commence your registration with NMC UK, you are being given a NMC UK PRN, a temporary PIN. It's always advisable you capture that. So this reduces the workload or the burden of your employer or anyone who is going to interview you. As soon as he sees your NMC UK PRN, he enters it on the NMC portal and automatically he knows how far you've gone with the NMC registration process. The same for NMBI, that is Ireland. You quote your temporary PIN and your NMBI ID and they can easily find you. The same with GCFNS for US of A. So these are the things that I should capture. And again, referees. Some have one professional referee and others have one maybe tutor other things on their CVs. Make sure the details of the referees you put on your CV they can be contacted easily. You don't put numbers or email addresses or people that are referees and they cannot be contacted. Before you put anyone on your curriculum vitae or your resume, make sure those people are aware. So they will be expecting mails and they will have to respond as soon as they can in order not to delay your process. People make the mistake of putting people on their CVs and then without informing them, they come contacting these people and these people haven't checked their mails for ages. Okay, so these are some of the things that you will have to look at or look out for. Again, when it's not usually advisable when you are applying for a job and you are studying, you still include that you are studying in it. That is irrelevant to them in most cases. If you are doing a top-up course or whatever, keep that to yourself and try to tailor your CV to suit the particular position that you are applying for. Most of us do this common mistake. We use one CV in applying for 1,000 jobs. No, there are jobs that always come with specifics. You have to look at the job specific. You have to look at the job description. You have to look at what they are actually looking for. Then you tailor your CV towards it. Yes, again, no employer will employ, especially overseas. No employer here will employ you from overseas when you have no work experience. If you are a fresh graduate, I'm sorry, you don't have, your chances are not that bright. The least some employers consider is having a 6 months work experience, which include your NYSC or your national service. That is included as well. So another mistake that we do make is due to one or two reasons we know, especially those of us coming from Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and the rest. Others of you coming from India and the rest. If due to one or two reasons you've been out of employment and you've been home for 1 year, please, these are not things you tell your employer. No employer will employ someone who has been out of active employment for a year. They are not going to employ you. I'm sorry. So these are not things that you write in your CV. These are not things that you say in the interview. These are not things that you tell your employer that due to one or two, because of the postings delayed, or because my mom was sick, or because just giving an excuse that because of that you've been home for a year, no one is going to employ you. Sorry. These are things you don't tell your employers. Again, when you are doing the interview, they usually look at bed capacity. Most employers want at least 100 bed capacity. This is another mistake that we make. You might have been working on a ward that contains 10 patients, or 11 or 12. But the total bed capacity of your hospital is what you have to mention. Even though you are working in a 15-bed capacity or ward capacity, or 10 or 20, but you have to quote the total bed capacity of the hospital. You don't say I'm working in a 10 or 15 bedded clinic. No one is going to employ you. The least even the US is considering is 80 bed capacity. For UK is 100. It should always be more than 100. So do all these corrections on your CV, and it might be a great help to you. Now with the job application, I made a video again on the job application, direct application to the NHS. There is a policy that all employers use now. When you are seeking for a job, I always advise people, look at the date the job was posted and look at the closing date of application. I will advise any job position that you see that is more than 3 days old, do not apply. Do not waste your time applying. Search for jobs within that 48 or 72 hour mark period. Even if it states that the job application is closing 3 or 2 months later, provided it's more than 3 days or even a week old, do not apply. And even if you have to apply, do not rely on that alone. Try other applications. Why? This is because with the employers in the NHS, as soon as they receive 50 emails, the first 50 applications that they receive, that is the ones they work on first and leave the rest. You will now sort out these 50 applications, scrutinize them, offer them interviews. The successful applicants will now be offered, given offer letters. Make sure they sign, process them till they get their certificate of sponsorships. Then try flying them in. When they don't get the desired number, that is when they go back to the next 50 applications. So by then, that is where you will be home, be waiting for so long, waiting for a reply from these employers, and the reply never comes. That is it. So usually when you go to the website trying to make your application or do your application, try to refresh the page as much as you can to get all the latest jobs, the 1-day, 2-day jobs, job positions. These are the ones that I will advise you go in for. Always when you go on Track Job or the NHS job website, there are more than 18,000 live jobs. So always there is a new posting. Always there is a new posting. You don't have to be reluctant in applying to these positions. Apply as much as you can. Attend more interviews as much as you can. Sign more offer letters. But as soon as you get your certificate of sponsorship from any employer, you leave the rest. As soon as you get hold of your certificate of sponsorship or a COS, then you stop your application. So that is another area that you have to look at. Do not apply to positions more than 10 or 1 week old or 3 days old. Again, with job specifics, when we are searching for jobs, as I say, any overseas who want to work in the UK, irrespective of your qualification back home or years of experience back home, you are starting here as a band 5 nurse. So you're applying for jobs, look for band 5 staff nurse jobs. Look carefully. There are some that will come as band 5, but as bank. You can never be employed as a bank staff whilst you are overseas, or you will only be employed as a bank staff whilst you are here in the country, because banks serve as a reservoir. They serve as a backup for the trust, so they can call upon you anytime. So until you are already here working, there's no way they are going to employ you as a bank. So do not waste your time applying to bank positions. no matter how juicy the offers may look, you're not going to be employed, you're not going to hear from them. So these are how to, get your employment very quickly. Also, get all your documents ready. Before you apply for any positions, make sure all the necessary documents are there. Make sure you've done all your health checks, your police checks and everything, and reply to interviews as soon as possible. Everything that will be asked of you, your TB test, your whatever, produce them as soon as possible. That is how come you get your offers quickly. So I will just end it here. Thank you very much for watching. If you have further inquiries, kindly reach out to me by the comment box or through my WhatsApp page, and I will respond accordingly. Thank you very much. God bless you.